Free agency frenzy officially kicks off today. It's already started. Moves are being made, and the San Francisco 49ers are making moves. Will they make a big splash? Our sources says yes. I got my man Tony right here. We're going to kick it off real proper like. Stick around right here on the WayneBreezie Show.
So bright that we shine. All we do is the Niners. Ready to go at its finest. So faithful to the bay. I be sipping gold bar whiskey on the rocks, and a 24 karat gold on a watch. My 7-1 Chevy be tipping nonstop, sounding like Trent Williams on the block. So you know we can't stop, we be banging through your speakers. WayneBreezie on the field or in the bleachers. You can tune into my show and I'm a teacher. WayneBreezie, the 4-9 preacher. We so bright that we shine.
What's going on, faithful? Tony, today it is like a national holiday for me, for you. We're out here trying to spend money that we don't currently have. This is what I call credit on credit on credit, or going into debt or more into debt. But Tony, I'm glad that you're here to chop it up with your boy Breezie, man. How you feeling, bro?
I'm exhausted. I just got out of work last night. At 7:30 o'clock this morning, I just woke up. I had to set my alarm because I didn't want to miss coming on with you and the free agent frenzy on the NFL Network. But I'm here. I'm not 100% here, but I'm here. Just real quick, could you hear my TV in the background? Because I'll lower it if you can.
I do hear it, so if you don't mind lowering it, that'd be great. If you could put on your captions, that'd be great. While Tony's doing that, shout out to the Breezy Bunch crew, man. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Nick Nice, first in the building. You get the foghorn dog. You're the first one I see, baby. Peachy's in the building. She says, thank everybody for tuning in to the show. Please smash that like button. Please do that, guys. Make sure you guys do that. Shout out to all the hashtag, the BBs are out here. My man Rob D's in the building. Manly's in the building. Hey, Rob, I pinned your your comment, too, in the chat, man. Check it out. Here it is. Breezy can make all the 49ers blueprints. I'm going to be specific. I can make all the Arik Armstead blueprint shirts that I want right now because that's what's going down. So if you guys don't remember what had happened, well, go back and watch that show. Black Orchid 772 is in the building. What's going on? Terrence, what's going on, baby? Hope you're doing well, man. Happy Monday, everybody. Colin, what's going on, baby? From across the sea, Snoop, I see you. What's good? Matthew's in the building. Kali, you know how we get down. Lake City is always family, baby. What's good? What's good? What's good? And shout out to everybody else out there. Tanisha, good, beautiful morning to you. And Miss Debbie, you already know I love you, baby. Today is the day. Wayne and Tony for the 49ers do what they do. Blessings to everyone. Tony, you know what I'm most excited about today? Because if we address free agency in the way that we feel like the team should address free agency, it helps us prepare for the 49ers draft, man. Talk a little bit about that while I wipe my nose.
Yeah, so basically, with the being that free agency comes first in the alignment of the offseason, like, you know, now they could go out and pinpoint positions that they want to attack in free agency and then restock the roster or fill in other needs via the draft. You know, moving on from Armstead now, the defensive line in total is going to be changed over from last year to this year. I think you're gonna have a whole new look with a whole new different personnel grouping coming in for this year, which is interesting because I spoke to you over text with this. I kind of hope they're gonna go back to the old mentality on how they used to play, with a more gap penetrating defensive tackle, like I'll use a Bryant Young, and then they had more of a space eating run defender like a Dana Stubblefield. So not these 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" defenders who, you know, at times when they get tired, they tend to play with higher pad level, and it opens up alleyways for the opposing team's run game. I was always a big fan of the lower statue guys, the more quicker, stronger, more physical guys that take up space. So we'll see. Maybe going with the Sorensen and sticking with the Seattle theory up front, bringing in the KJ Wright, where you had those two big physical defenders. It could be a little change of philosophy up front.
Really good point that you pointed that out. It's funny that you mentioned that because I was saying to myself, the Niners were always big monsters up front, taller guys can kind of get their hands up, bat these passes down. But what's funny? The league is changing. And
Yeah.
it's always evolving or revolving, however you want to call it. But we're seeing the more, I don't want to say better, but the better defensive tackles usually are those 6'3", no taller than 6'4", a little bit wider, big bodies. That's why I'm like really high on this kid, Tavondre Sweat, who's like traditionally like a nose tackle on a 3-4, but you could line him up in a 4-3 defense. Tony, come on, man. You can high five me when we see each other, baby. I already know we on the same page, bro, because it just makes sense. What did the Niners struggle in last year the most on defense? It wasn't just because of third down. It was because they were getting gashed in the run game, which forced them into these crazy third down situations. So I think the Niners do get bigger up front. I know a lot of people are kind of upset that the Niners always are addressing the defense. They're spending money on defense. That's what you do. That's what you do. You get the defense right, and it allows your offense to do what it does and continue to move the sticks and put up points and all those things. Because if the defense can continue to give the ball back to the offense has more opportunities to score. Right, Tony?
Absolutely. 100% well said.
Oh, man. Free agency frenzy is underway. I know you guys are seeing a lot of free agents sign. Let's talk about some of the things. Before we get to that, let's congratulate Fred Warner and his beautiful wife, Sydney. They had a beautiful baby boy. I think it's a baby boy. I hope it's right. Bo. Right? Bo. What a dope name. And I do, right, because Bo is the masculine version of beautiful, where Belle would be the feminine version if you take French. I learned that in French, so hope I'm still right. Like, I haven't taken French in such a long time, but congratulations to you two, man, and the Warners. And congratulating on your beautiful baby boy, bringing him into this world in 2024. But let's talk about some of the moves that the San Francisco 49ers are making out there, because they are able to do some things with their own players now. Some of this stuff has already happened, but let's just talk about the extension of Colton McKivitz. I never really got your thought on that, but before I get your thought, I do want to shout out Jackson Knox. She just gave a super chat contribution. We got to give her the foghorn and the cha-ching. She says, keep doing a great job with the colors of the 49er hearts. Jax, we truly appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat contribution. Tony, let's talk about extending Colton McKivitz. 1-year deal, $7 million. I think about a little over $4 million guaranteed if you do the 60 to 65% of what's guaranteed. What are your thoughts on this, man? What's good?
All right, so let's look at the 49ers track record, right? Just real quick, we're going to start off with McKivitz was a starter last year, didn't miss one game. He played okay, but he had his ups and downs. He had some good games, he had some bad games. But, I mean, what do you expect from a former fifth round or sixth round pick? Was previously cut by the 49ers, brought back, gave him another opportunity, made the most of it. And now, just by signing him, it gives you the flexibility to go, okay, listen, we have our returning starter. Even though he was under contract, we have him back for another year after that. So basically, the way I see that deal, the way it was structured and the way they agreed to it was simply just to get the 49ers under the cap. Okay, so what they did was they added a year. They probably lowered his number this year, stretched it out over the second year. Now, if you're telling me the guarantees, I don't know I didn't read it. I don't know if it's fully guaranteed or just guaranteed, which could also include injury guarantees. So if he doesn't get hurt, those injury guarantees are, they can wiggle with that.
I like this, man, because Jason says McKivitz just came to work every day. Never got Employee of the Month, man. You need a team of blue-collared workers, right? You need the workers, right? All right.
You want that guy just to come in, show up, do his job, and now you have someone that you can rely on, right? So right now the 49ers' right tackle spot is penciled in with McKivitz. And I said this when we originally signed him the year before, saying, all right, wait, listen, the Niners got a right tackle now. Now the question is, do they stick with him? Do they bring somebody in to challenge him? Does his role reduce to more of a swing tackle, Or does he become the Daniel Brunskill that could play across the line of scrimmage, right? So you have that one piece that could go right tackle, right guard, center, left guard, left tackle. Personally, if they do bring somebody in, I have no problem with McKivitz on this roster whatsoever. Because we all saw when Trent Williams had that high ankle sprain versus the Rams, he was the starting left tackle, and he did a damn good job. So
he actually plays better on the left side now that you bring that up.
Correct. So if you're just going to tell me it's going to cost you $4.4 million guaranteed, not even fully guaranteed, I'm 100% for this signing, and I don't see an issue with it.
I don't either because it shores up the depth of the offensive line. The 49ers can either address it in free agency, they can also address it in the draft, and now you have a starting caliber tackle that you have, like you said, penciled in. And if you bring in a young guy, young whippersnapper, like these guys like the Tyler Guytons or the Marius Mims, or if they trade up and try to get someone else, like if they bring in any of these guys, they could potentially come in and try to win that starting spot, but they're gonna have to try. They're gonna have to win it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And this brings in competition and stuff like that. Breaking news.
No, never mind.
Okay, Tony. Okay, good.
It was a pump fake. I'm sorry. It was a pump fake.
Tony hit me with the whoa. I was going to shut up. I was going to break it down. I was going to let Tony break that, but it's all good. That's why we're here. This is what the live show is all about. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. We almost got 450 people tuning in. A lot of people watching live on Twitter. Thank y'all on X. Excuse me. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hey man, if you want to join this the comment section, if you're watching on X, come and join the YouTube channel, the comment section, the Breezie Bunch crew. It is fascinating. Something you don't want to miss out on. But you know, I'm excited about what the Niners are doing because they're kind of like, I would say, they're kind of outlining. Look at it as a picture, and they're outlining their picture with the outline. They're putting the outline together. You got solid work from McKivitz. They re-signed restricted free agent Ben Barch. Let's talk a little bit about him. Played about 28 snaps for the San Francisco 49ers. They picked him up off the Jacksonville Jaguars practice squad. Tony, how you feeling about that particular signing? He can play center, he can play guard. What are your thoughts?
Another one of those projects, right? I think the 49ers had shown some interest in it when he came out, when he was drafted the year. Jacksonville actually took him in the fourth round, I believe. And then when the Jacksonville Jaguars traded for somebody that I thought the 49ers would trade for, Urza Cleveland, for a 6th-round pick, and now they turn around. Now they turn around and extend him to a very nice deal, which he played very well in Jacksonville. Great fit for his own scheme, someone that the Niners showed interest in the draft process, but just didn't pull the trigger on the trade to get him to San Francisco. Now they went and plucked this guy off of Jacksonville's practice squad. Chris Forster.
Corey Forster, offensive line coach.
With ties in the organization, a former guy that worked with him in Jacksonville, reached out to him and said, Chris, get this guy. He's a talented guy. He's a hardworking guy. He could develop into something. So the 49ers ended up pulling the trigger, bringing him in last year, claiming him off waivers, stashed him on the roster. He had some reps during the final games of the year. I think actually when they sat everybody in the final week of the year going into the playoffs. And, he's a piece that they're going to add to the puzzle for the right guard spot and potentially the center spot, because there is rumbling saying that San Francisco reached out to Brendel as well as Juice for potential pay cuts or restructures of the contracts. Yeah. So you have the piece there in case it doesn't work to come in and add a body, right? We're all talking about, let's see if we could just put something there now and then upgrade it via free agency or the draft.
Let's talk about they re-signed, and I told everybody that this was going to happen. I said they're going to re-sign one of these quarterbacks. It was going to be Brandon Allen, and they'll let Sam Darnold walk in free agency, and they're going to draft a guy, right? And so what are your thoughts on the re-signing of Brandon Allen opposed to bringing in a veteran? I know Allen is a vet, but come on, you know what I mean by veteran. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, right now they took what they knew. They took somebody that knows, and they don't have to spend all this time teaching. So they have one piece there, because right now it's Brock Purdy. I don't see Sam Darnold coming back. I see Sam Darnold potentially getting a shot pending how free agency goes with the respective teams that do add him in the future. with Denver, with Atlanta, with Minnesota. So I don't think the 49ers will exceed the $5 million that they went for last year to bring Sam Darnold in. I do see him leaving. And this is a guy that worked with Greasy. They know Greasy. Greasy knows him. He knows what is expected in the quarterback room from Greasy, and he knows the offense. So right now, again, this is that piece that says, okay, we have him. Let's see if we can get better, whether it's free agency or the draft. This is what this team does so well, right? They bring these pieces in, not big names, not solidified players, but people that know the system, and they don't have to spend all this time teaching. So they have these people in-house where, okay, we're going to give this guy a shot, and then we're going to go out and say, all right, listen, let's grab this guy, and let's grab this guy, and let's grab this guy. Let them compete and see if we can upgrade from what we currently have. It's very smart the way to do it, and it's not costing them a ton of money to do.
Yeah, and that's the key. Not costing a ton of money, keeping the quarterback's room relatively inexpensive so that they can continue to build the roster in the way they see fit. The 49ers in that win now mode, that window is wide open, and they're trying to find a way to bring in more and more talent. I don't want to even just say serviceable talent. I'm talking about talent that can get it done. For example, if they're going to address the edge rusher in this free agency, right? I expect them to get the guy, not a guy. They've been dealing with getting a bunch of A guys, a bunch of depth guys. I think they go out and finally spend some money, get the guy that can complement a guy like Nick Bosa, find a way to pay these guys, and then they'll figure out, oh, we got a bunch of draft picks. The draft pick is loaded with some edge guys. Let's go ahead and load up in this draft and get some guys in here. We'll see what Robert Bill Jr. does next year, vice versa. Great 1765 says Jordan Travis is the quarterback from Florida State, if I'm not mistaken. In the draft is a kid that you want the 49ers to go out there and get. Listen, that's a good comp. Could do everything Brock Purdy does, can make the quick throws, very competent style of quarterback, can move on his feet. Good pick. Only thing is, I don't know about you, Tony. I just don't see the 49ers drafting a quarterback until the 7th round. Will Kyle break that and move up and draft a quarterback like he did in the 3rd round when he drafted CJ Beathard? This is going to be fun to watch. What are your thoughts on that?
As far as what? Jordan Travis? I'm sorry, someone just texted me. It was working.
Yeah. I feel like you might have to move up to get a guy like Jordan Travis. I don't think Travis will be sitting in the 7th round, which is where I think they'll take a quarterback.
No. You're probably gonna have to grab him like anywhere between. See, it's tricky because he's coming off the devastating leg injury, right?
Correct.
He could be teetering between that 3 all the way to 5, maybe get plucked in that range.
He may get pushed down to 6. I wouldn't mind spending one of the 6 picks, 214 or 15 on him in the 6th round, but I think that's the earliest Kyle Shanahan will draft a quarterback. Not like how he did when he drafted CJ Beathard in the 3rd round. That's what I was kind of like hinting to. Will he make that mistake again?
No, I don't think so. There's a gentleman, someone just put his name up in this chat right now. That's someone that really has my eye. Okay.
BYU kid?
Yeah.
So
this
I
kid,
also like the kid from Kentucky too, which I think you can get in the 7th round. Yes, sir.
Yeah. This kid, I'm going to tell you, if you watch his USC film, but I know. The problem with him is the USC film, he sustained a shoulder injury.
Yes. Yeah.
Hasn't been the same. All right.
We're going to get more. I like Devin.
Draft. Let's talk about Travis.
You're right. And that's why I like Devin Leary, because if you want efficiency, and that's the Shanahan system, you rock with him. All right. Fred Warner is restructuring, and then we'll finish this segment and talk about the Armstead. So Fred Warner was restructured apparently a while ago, and I want to get your thoughts on the restructuring and how it may affect the team down the road. But for right now, this is a good gesture from the veteran Fred Warner.
Yes. Okay. You know me, I was very against this whole
backloading. Yes, sir.
Down the road, right?
Don't ever change, Tony. Don't ever change.
You saw what happened. You're seeing what happened with Armstead. It caught up to them. All right. Age, health, body breaking down, production. But someone like Fred Warner, who's still young, and I truly feel his play is still kind of ascending rather than like, plateauing and
And then
descending.
declining. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of if you're going to extend somebody, this is the piece that you want, right?
Exactly.
And it's nothing against Arik Armstead. I just think the injury that he has with that plantar fasciitis, bro, it's a ticking time bomb. I have the issue with my foot. I could be good for weeks, and then that one morning you wake up, it's like hell. So the restructure for Fred Warner, I'm okay with it. I like it. He helped the team with the money. I'm dying to find out as far as Armstead, whether it's pre or post June 1st, to see what that money does. But this is a guy, if you're going to target a restructure, this is what you want. Another guy I would look at is potentially now, I mean, it's hard now because with the Achilles with Dre Greenlaw, I would look to Dre Greenlaw to try to add a year or add 2 years on extension, not restructure, but just give him an extension and try to lower that number a little bit. And then he's got those nice 2 years added on or a year added on to give them a little bit more flexibility because this team could create a ton of cap space. It's just how far they want to go down the road and play people like this. But I think they got a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth with the Armstead situation and his restructuring and keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Granted, it's the end of his final contract. But when you have a problem with a guy with almost $30 million in cap space and he's a free agent next year, and you want to go out and add to this roster and keep that window open and make a push, that number is a major issue.
Indeed, it is a major issue. Indeed. Financially, talking about, money, I think the 49ers were probably under that window when they made the deal, when they did the first restructure of his contract and they pushed the money back. That this is a guy that was going to try to that's going to stay with the team probably till the day he retires. And I think it just backfired on him. Hey, listen. And so let's get into the Arik Armstead situation because I want to talk a little bit about this, Tony, because I don't think the 49ers were wrong for going and asking Arik Armstead to take a pay cut. And so when you look at his play, you look at his availability, you look at his health, all those things are literally declining. Right? Literally declining. And when this deal was made, he was still at the maximum peak of what he was able to do, lining up inside, lining up outside. Notice how he stopped lining up outside too. Remember, that was one of the major things, the reasons why the 49ers even went this route, because they had a versatile player in Arik Armstead. And then all of a sudden, remember Arik Armstead came out and said, hey man, look, I'm a tackle. I'm an inside guy. But if they need me to him and Jimmy Ward kind of had like this weird thing, but they ended up playing wherever they were asked to play. I'm just a little I'm not upset at the release of Arik Armstead. We just got to figure out the terminology. The is it pre? Is it post? Because let's talk about pre. Let's talk about right now because it's not June 1st yet. That number is going to cost the 49ers $25 million, which means that the Niners are only going to save about $2 million on the cap if they release him as of now and designate that language. But if they release him with the language designated to a post June 1st cut, that means that the Niners will eventually save $18 million on the deal, Tony. And on top of that, here's the issue. That money, all of that money won't be available until after June 1st. So they'll probably be able to use some of it, a piece of it, an eighth of it or something. But that $18 million won't be available until after June 1st when free agency is kind of dwindled down. So, thoughts?
So the way I look at it is this, right? I'm just going to use a number for easy math purposes. Let's just say his number's $30 million, right? And they say, all right, we're going to cut him with it all. Really? 1 second. We're going to cut it with it all. You get the $2 million towards the cap, and then you get $28 million that's going to still count against the cap, right? You get $2 million cap relief, $2 million against the cap. So you're at $28 million. That number was there already. Right. So no matter what, if he stayed, that number's there. If he's released, that number's there. Now, the pros and cons of this, right? If they keep it that way, next year they are free and clear of Arik Armstead, and they don't owe him $1. Now, if they split it, They got to split it, and some of it goes to next year. Now, whether it's 15 and 15 or 12 and a half and 12 and a half, whatever the number is, but you're still going to have a little bit of money on that side. Wow, Christian Wilkins got paid, I think.
Yeah, he's going to the Raiders, Las Vegas. Yep.
But that's the way it is. You know what I'm saying? So you got to see where it's at. Like, there's two philosophies. If they want to do it and just clean the board with him, you keep it this year. You created more cap space with Fred. You picked up another $2 million there. You picked up a couple million here. You could restructure a McCaffrey or restructure or extend a Travarius Ward. You can get another 10, 15 million if you really want to clean your hands next year.
There's going to be some extensions, and I'm not going to be mad at him. Okay? So there's going to be some extensions. Let's talk about some cap casualties, though. Let's talk about some other players other than Arik Armstead, who is set to be released. All right. I think both parties are agreeing on to be released. And this is the thing that the Niners do, right? Like, hey, man, listen, we're going to release you and, go out there. They've done it to players before in the past. They did it to Navarro Bowman. They did it to Colin Kaepernick. Like, they allow their players like that they care about to go out there, test the market, see what happens. All right. So before we do that, leave that, though, is there any possibility, because nothing's final, is there any possibility that Arik Armstead goes and tests the market, nobody picks him up, and then he comes back and the Niners hit him with a winky wink deal? Like, hey, man.
Sure.
Oh, drop the bomb on it, Tony. Tell us how that might go down.
Right. I mean, it's something where you would have to keep it. I mean, if they bring back an Arik Armstead, it's going to be basically on performance, incentive laden a deal. You give him a $5 to $7 million cap, and then you give him opportunity to make up to $15 or $18 million, right? So you get, he gets the ability to make money. And if they're in the market for if they want to bring Chase Young back, it's the same type of deal I would give Chase Young. You want the motivation to be there, right? You don't want to just hand them, okay, here's the money, and then
incentives, right?
Exactly. You want it to be an incentive-based deal. Wow, he got freaking paid.
You talk about Chris Wilkins, the 4-year, $110 million, 85 guaranteed. Yeah, man. Listen, look, I knew the Niners didn't have that kind of money. Is that a greater deal than Chris Jones? The guarantee? I can't remember Chris Jones' deal. Anyway, congratulations to Christian Wilkins. I'm a little upset. I do want to cry. I'll do it when we finish, because can you imagine him next to Hargrave? Never mind. I don't want to imagine it. Let's talk about these cap casualties, because there's a report or going on that the 49ers and Kyle have asked Kyle Juszczyk to take a pay cut. We do have an update per Eric Branch that the 49ers and Kyle Juszczyk remain in talks about lowering his salary in 2024. So they're still talking. Do you think Juszczyk is going to be on the out and enter free agency?
I don't know.
I know it's tough.
I like Kyle. I like what he gives to the offense. I like his flexibility, his ability to play multiple spots, align in multiple areas of the field, keeping the defenses honest. I just feel.
I know we like him, but does the money go into what we like? Like, okay, for example, I didn't mean to cut you off. We've paid Juice.
They paid a lot. Juice. I talked to Mike about this once. I said, wait a second. I said, Mike, Kyle Juszczyk made a lot of money off the 49ers.
Kyle Juszczyk made so much money with I don't think people even remember his first contract where they were paying him like a running back. Okay?
Yeah.
And so Juice got a lot of money, and then over the years his role lessened. But they still made him the highest paid fullback in the league. The question is, will he remain that, or will he accept the pay cut and take one for the team? I know it's tough, but I'm just curious to know, Like if that's something that Juice may do. Like, what are your thoughts, man? Like, because I don't want to see Juice go anywhere.
No,
I
I
don't
don't.
think there's a replacement for Juice. There's just like there's no replacement for Debo. You can get another wide receiver, you can get another fullback, but what you ask these type of players to do, it's one of a kind.
Yes, but let me ask you this, right? If, let's just say hypothetically, they move on from him. Hypothetically, I'm not saying it. Does Kyle offense evolve? Does it take the next step? Does it go from the three? Does it go from the 21 personnel to a two tight end set?
Tight end set to a 12
Does it
personnel.
go to a 3 wide receiver alignment? Because let's be honest with us. Let's be honest, Wayne.
It's time. It's time.
You haven't seen. I mean, Juice wasn't on the field as much as he used to be
because Kyle's trying to change up. It
Now,
can't go to the 2 tight end set unless we get another dynamic weapon out there. But that's what the draft is for. And as far as, you're right. Juice's role diminished because of what Kyle's trying to do. He's trying to put out 3 wide receiver sets more often. I'm just conflicted because it's just like when he's there, he's your best blocking running back. And so like he rarely misses blocks. He rarely misses blocks in your pass protection. This is a guy you want on the field, but if he's not being utilized, this is why they're asking him to take the pay cut.
And he's a big part of their blocking scheme as far as the run game, right? How many times you see the run, like Purdy would be on the center, step out to his right, open up to his right, and then hand it off. And here comes Juszczyk this way. And then all of a sudden he bangs a left, cuts across the formation, and now it's a counter. So you're showing run off the right tackle, and then they immediately it converts from a right tackle run to a counter left. So he just gives you that ability to be super duper creative in the run game because he's so versatile and he can move that well. And he could, he could be that what he's shown to be as a 49er his whole career here. I mean, the guy's been to 8 Pro Bowls out of 10 years?
Yeah. It comes down to Juice. You know what's going to come down to? I think the relationship is strong, but it's going to come down to that number that Juice is willing to play for in San Francisco. Because if there's another team that, he's not a free agent, okay? But if there's another team, if that he feels he can get a little bit more security from, bread, playtime. How come we don't talk about playtime with him? Brandon Ayuk is all about the playtime, right? He wants the damn ball. Maybe Juice wants a little bit more of the ball too. Like he just doesn't come out and say it. Phil D.B. says Juice can take a $1.5 million pay cut and still be the highest paid fullback in the league.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, right? The Niners have had the
he's not just a fullback, though. I just want to
have been lucky to have a lot of good fullbacks, right?
Yes.
Talk about the Tom Rathman,
yes, sir.
Beasley's,
yes.
All these guys that were just consistently good.
Thought Bruce Miller was good too.
Bruce Miller, that could run the ball probably better than Juice, like out of the I formation. That could catch the ball. That could probably block a little bit better than Juice, right? Maybe Juice is the better wide receiver that you could actually line up in a slot and run a pattern. Yes. But none of these guys hit $7 million in salary.
None of them.
Right?
It wasn't a position you paid then, no.
Yes, but now here's the point. Next year, Purdy's eligible for an extension.
Oh God. So
now you got to become really successful and frugal with your roster dynamics and how you construct this roster. And that's why we're going to go back to Arik Armstead. I would not be surprised if this team takes the brunt of it this year, restructure somebody, maybe push a little bit next year rather than have $15 million sitting just for Arik Armstead, who's not on the roster. So there's strategy behind this, and I trust the 49ers up top because they've been very good on what they do as far as how they maneuver these dollars and contracts and when they can get out. Granted, the cap is going to go up 100%. I agree. I understand that. But the whole thing is this. Brock Purdy's going to cost a lot of money, and he's not going to be allowed to step on that field until he gets paid. So now you got to be frugal. And I'm going to tell you right now, this draft is huge.
It's huge.
Right? Because let's talk about something. I'm going to just real quick. I know I'm kind of varying off, but we're going to use this as economic and job in the world and like levels of living and success of the people of America. You have your rich, you have your working class, and you have your poor class, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers have a lot in the rich,
Mm-hmm.
a lot in the poor.
Mm-hmm.
Now they need to rebuild the middle class of this roster. Guys that are cost efficient, cap efficient. They need to beef that up this year, and it's going to be huge. And like a lot of people say, they're going to trade a ton. I don't think they're going to trade a ton. They might make a move for a player or two, but I still think they walk away with 8 picks this year, maybe 7, because you need to put those pieces in to keep this roster going.
But those 7 pieces, do you consider those pieces middle class? Or
Well, I mean, they start off as middle class, right?
You think so?
If you're in the bottom of the first round, you trade up to 15. You're expecting that player to be.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm thinking of the brunt end of the draft. I think, because when you look at,
Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Remember when they drafted they drafted Fred Warner,
yes,
Greenlaw,
yep,
and Kittle. All later, 4th, 5th rounds.
yep.
Third.
Fred Warner was 3rd, Greenlaw, Kittle 5th.
Right. So that's your middle class. So you're strategizing your draft in the middle class, but those middle class give you rich class contributions. That's what I'm trying to say. So you want the salaries to be middle, and then you want the contribution to turn into rich, but only costing middle class dollars.
I think
that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, and I think that's what the Niners are doing. Because when you look at, all right, I'm looking at the roster, right? And so, like, those middle class guys that became rich is because of the production. Your George Kittles, your Deebo Samuels, your Nick Bosa's, your like those draft picks, your Fred Warners, your Dre Greenlaws, like those guys they got their contracts with the team, and they're rich, right? Now they're in the rich tier. And so when you look at the middle guys, I'm looking at the middle guys, okay? I'm really looking at them, and I'm saying to myself, you got some middle guys. You got some guys that are pushing themselves upwards into that possibly rich tier. Because I would say a guy like Diamador Lenore, maybe Talanoa Hufanga, these are some guys they got in the draft that are potentially pushing themselves up into their contract years and could possibly be in some type of a long-term deal, but doesn't put them in the top tier of the rich class. They still focusing on that middle. So if those guys continue to develop, your Aaron Banks, even Colton McKivitz, George Odom, which there's a report going out there saying that there's a particular restructure for George Odom, and the 49ers want to keep him. If you guys don't know who George Odom is, he's a safety for the San Francisco 49ers, but he is a special teams ace. And speaking of safety, Rayshawn Jenkins, former Jaguar safety, plans to visit with the 49ers on tomorrow. So the Niners are looking to add to the safety room. Okay, this is interesting. And these are those middle tier type players that you were talking about that can keep, kind of like keep the surface of what the team is trying to do. Once those top tier players kind of evolve themselves out, those players will probably move themselves up, depending on their play, right?
Yeah, correct.
Thoughts on George Odom and the restructure? Is this a good thing for the Niners?
I don't know is it a restructure or is it an extension?
Oh, it might be an extension. I'm sorry.
I think it's an extension because I think he's a free agent. So I mean, listen, if you have the ability,
is Odom a free agent?
I think he is.
No, Odom's not a free agent.
He's not. Unless they might have. No, he's not a free agent. I thought he was a free agent. So, yeah, I mean, my thing is this, right? If you want to, this roster, like we said, we talked about, it's a Super Bowl caliber roster. if you're going to invest in getting a guy that just plays strictly special teams, but you have an opportunity to bring in somebody that can offer you a little bit as a safety on the field. You have Hufanga coming off of an injury. Gibson might not be returning. This is where a decision might need to be made. Like, who's the gentleman that you said was visiting us? I forgot his damn name.
Rayshawn Jenkins.
Jenkins offers you play on the field, right? Where Odom, not as much, spot starter at times, could fill in for situations, injuries, and stuff like that. Yeah. But the question is, where do you view him and where is your trust level in him to come in and say, all right, listen, maybe Hufanga has a setback. We're going with you to start the year.
Mm-hmm.
Are we there with Odom? Or are we just special teams ace Odom?
I mean, so depending on the restructure and depending on the incentives that are based in his contract, the factors that are going to be in his contract, because you started the show off with that. That is the Niner way. I don't know if people are realizing, but the Niners and Parag Marate, they want you here, but you have to want to be here. Right. And by doing that, you're going to agree to this contract. You're going to agree to this, but you're going to be playing for factors to get you more money. So they don't mind paying you, but you got to go out there and literally earn it. And you're going to get an opportunity. We do know Odom had the injury last year, but I just don't know if he's going to give you that starting safety caliber like you're talking about, like a guy like Rayshawn Jenkins. But it does strengthen up the room because at the end of the day, you're getting your top special teams ace, your all pro on special teams, the gunner, the guy that's getting down there, like, smacking the crack off of a person or whatever. You're getting that, and you're getting the ability to have a safety. But I wouldn't be surprised if they restructure him and they look to add a veteran safety. We talked about this. We talked about veteran safeties. Is it Tashawn Gibson? Is it this? It doesn't matter. Tony, before you jump off out of here, I do want to shout out to my man Phil. Man, he gave the super chat contribution. Thank you so much. Tony, just anybody else off this team currently that you feel like might be a cap casualty, like any other player. You talked about some restructures, but do you see the 49ers setting to release anybody else off the top of your dome?
I've been reading things on social media and a couple articles online about Jake Brendel.
Really?
But yeah, I'm not 100% there unless they have something up their sleeve. Like, unless there's a free agent looming right now.
There is a free agent looming, Tony. I could put a free agent in your head.
Who?
The kid Connor Williams from Miami. I know he's coming off the ACL injury, but this dude is a top center in the league. He runs the zone scheme. You can probably get him on a cheaper deal because he's coming off the injury. And then you can put Barch in as your center if you do plan to move on from Jake Brendel and until he's healthy and ready to go. That's that. If you're moving on from or keeping him, Brendel doesn't even cost that much money. So I don't get it.
Well, see, he's $4.5 million this year.
He's $4.6 million this year.
He goes up to over $5 million next year. Now, when you're talking about, you want to bring in players like potentially like Hunt, maybe I'm just shooting from the hip. Maybe trade for Snead, get a better corner opposite of Travarius Ward. You bring in Moore, the excellent slot corner from the Colts. That's going to cost you money. If you feel you could sneak somebody on a roster who's just as good, maybe potentially a little bit better, at a price where you could get rid of a $5 million next year, it's roster economics, bro. It's legit, to the penny. These guys, the way they operate. But if they feel that they can maneuver, because listen, Jake Brendel, voting wise, yes, he was an alternate Pro Bowl guy. Yes, he's good. Yes, he's solid. Yes, he has a very high IQ. But if it wasn't for the San Francisco 49ers bringing him here and giving him opportunity,
he wouldn't be playing center anywhere. No.
So you got to look at it like that, right?
I do.
Is it the scheme that's benefiting? Is it the coaching that's making it easier for him? Because there was a couple plays in the playoffs where he got pushed around, and it became a little bit of an issue inside. So I'm not saying he's garbage. I'm saying maybe if they see an upgrade that's cost efficient to clear some of that money, Because you don't want to restructure a guy like that and just keep pushing money down on him, right? Because I don't think he's going to be here for. I mean, I think he's 31 years old, if I'm correct.
His contract wasn't set for him to be the long-term plan for the
Exactly.
San Francisco 49ers at center. Whether they
Exactly.
choose to
He's
draft
the
the
holdover guy.
exactly, so he's the place guy until they find their guy. We know that the Niners are. Listen, you know Kyle Shanahan is always looking for his guy, especially at the center position. I think Kyle covets the center over the tackle. I think he'll rather start Colt McKivitz and get a center that he knows can come in here and do all this good stuff, like the stuff that he needs to run his own scheme. Tony, before you jump off, the Niners need a right tackle. Let's just focus on free agents since it's free agent frenzy. Give me a right tackle name. Give me an edge rusher name, a cornerback, a guard, a linebacker, and a defensive interior guy. We'll take quarterback off the list.
So the right tackle, I mean, I've seen people say Trent Brown. The Trent Brown's not coming back here. The 49ers traded him to bring in McGlinchey. Kyle didn't like what he saw when he came here with him, like, his commitment or something. So you take him off the list. Now the question becomes this: how much do you want to spend, and what position group do you want to spend it at, right? Now, do I see them maybe going after a guard to solidify the right side, stick with McKivitz on paper, which could help the play of McKivitz if you upgrade the right guard spot, and could also upgrade Brendel at the center.
This is true. So I want to say this, bearing money. Don't worry about the money. Give me your tackle, the tackle that will make the Niners better from free agency. Don't worry about the money, because we'll drive ourselves crazy, because I still think we're playing with $2.50 right now. So I know you want to give it to me the way that the Niners have to address it, but just to say they figure out their money situation, they're going after a right tackle. They're not going to get all these, but who is the right tackle for the 49ers if they upgrade?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you could say the kid from New England,
Michael Onwenu. Yeah.
You could say him, but the question is he a fit in the outside zone scheme? Can he get down and get to the second level and lead on reverses or jet sweeps on coming to his side?
I tell you what, he's better than Colt McKivitz.
He's athletic. I didn't watch him like that, so I don't know.
He was athletic in Michigan. I know that. But
right, so, I mean, that would be someone you can consider. I don't see anybody else that's big money. I mean,
and again, this is why I think they addressed that in the draft. Good job, Tony.
Exactly.
Edge rusher, bro. Edge rusher.
I would say maybe. I think they're locked in on Hunter Greenward. I think that's his name, Greenwald or Greenward.
He just went to the Vikings.
He went to Minnesota. I mean, there's that kid from New England. He's very undersized.
Josh Uche, yes. Yeah. Speaking of that, really quick, Marco Martinez said that I can confirm that the 49ers have reached out to former Patriots Josh Uche, another Michigan kid, to express interest. So they are looking. That's a speed rusher. That's a guy that the Niners definitely could use on the opposite side of Nick Bosa, which Mike and I will be talking about today on No Harm, No Foul, a.k.a. the BAM Show. All right. So your guy is Danielle Hunter.
Just real quick on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you invest in that and you say, let's go after him and pay him, how is he against the run?
So, I mean, he didn't have a good season this year with the Patriots. But I don't know. Like, I have to watch his film.
So these are things that really need to be talked about, right? If you're going to go big on a right end or an opposite end of Bosa,
right? They have to be able to contain.
Are they a 4-down end? Are they a base end? Are they could they be play the whole thing, or are they just an undersized pass rusher who flies off the edge?
Right. So, like, I mean, when you look at this guy, I mean, I think that the 49ers are looking to fulfill the role of what D Ford did. I think they're still trying to search and find that, who was an elite pass rusher and good at containing the edge, right? And so, like, I think that is what the Niners are looking. That's the model that they're using. And I think they're going to find it while hopefully they continue to still try to develop guys like Drake Jackson, which isn't that, right? He's just a freak with a great bend, right? And so I think Jake Jackson takes the Cleveland Farrell role this year. Just watch. And, but they got to go out there and get somebody to complement. But it's got to be Daniil Hunter. Like, this is what they freeing up this money for. It's got to be Daniil Hunter. Really quick, cornerback.
I would like to see them bring the corner from the Colts more the third.
Kenny Moore.
Solidified the slot. You bump Lenore outside, and you go to town with that.
Okay, so you're going to put him inside as the nickel, opposed to bringing in an outside guy, moving in and Lenore inside to the nickel. See, I like the kid Darius Williams that got released from Jacksonville.
I do too, but now the price tag comes into it.
And price tag,
right?
I got you. They freeing up money, but I got you. Right guard, you talked about possibly addressing that in free agency opposed to the tackle. Who's the guard you got in mind? Michael Winwoo can play guard as well.
I like him, or I like the kid Hunt from Miami.
Did Hunt get signed?
Not yet.
Okay, I thought he did. All right.
Well, I think just based off of what that guy made from the Rams, $16 million a year, I don't.
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, they're not going to. Yeah, draft time, which is good. This is why they have these draft picks. This is the draft for offensive line. I'm telling you, offensive line linebacker Aziz, is he pricing himself out of San Francisco? Just to get your thoughts on that.
I think Aziz will price himself out because of the year he had. I think someone will overpay for his services.
I feel like he's going to Washington.
Yeah. I don't think the 49ers will go that far. I think somebody to keep an eye on, and it's been reported, and I'm not saying it just from my aspect, but it made sense. Levante David, a run and chase
from Tampa Bay
sideline, or you call up Quan Alexander, merge the hot boys again.
All right,
see what you can do.
And
listen, Quan worked with Dre Greenlow when he was a rookie, so now Quan could work with the two rookies we drafted last year. Not to mention, they have one hell of an assistant linebacker coach.
Yeah, KJ Wright.
Now KJ Wright.
I agree.
So it's going to be interesting.
Interior, who's the guy that the Niners look to sign?
I think if they want to go back to that old school 94 mentality when they ran that Seattle defense, you look at a DJ Reader as the space eater. You look at a DJ Jones as a space eater to match with
Javon Hargrave.
And there was a couple guys out there I just don't know off the top of my head.
All right. So Space Eater is the key, and I think that's the way the Niners are going to address it, depending on how much money they free up. Tony, thanks for jumping on, man. I appreciate you. I know you got to dip out, man. But shout out to Tony, nothing but Niners in the building. Tony, man, you always a real one. Can't wait to have you back on.
All right, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. And just, guys, stay alert because it's coming today.
It's coming.
We've got to hit the fan soon, I think.
Bro, I appreciate you, bro.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Peace. All right, man, that's Tony from Nothing But Niners, the GM of what we do. Guys, stay tuned, man, because I got to promote my picks. I want you guys to check out my picks over there on Win Streak. Check out this quick video, and then we'll get right back to the show, all right? I promise, right back to the show. No lie. Where's my video? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, WayneBreezie. I need you right now to download the hottest app out right now. It's called Win Streaks. All you got to do is download the app, make your picks, and your correct picks equal points. Then you cash out. You can play with family and friends, earn up to $2,000 cash weekly, and there are 100 cash prizes every week. The best part is it's 100% free, and you can cash out straight to PayPal or Venmo. WinStreaks has all the matchups, NBA, NCAA, NHL, and NFL. The Super Bowl is on its way. I'm on Win Streaks. Now you need to be on Win Streaks. Use the link below and use my referral code, WayneBreezie. See you up there, champ. All right, man, there it is right there. You can scan that code, man. I know the video is a little outdated because the Super Bowl is not underway. We actually lost the Super Bowl, but it's all good. But go ahead and scan that code, man. It's going to take you right to the App Store. Download the app, and then you can join my group, and you can use the code WayneBreezie as well. We are about to kick some stuff off over there. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. This has been a great show. Make sure you tune back in 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to the BAM Show. That's right. We're going to be hitting everybody with the BAM. Myself, Mike Andrews. We're going to be talking about who the 49ers are going to get to pair up with Nick Bosa. I think they go edge. It's going to be great. Thank you to all the Super Chat contributors out there. Thank you so much to all of the Breezy Bunch crew out there as well, man. Your patronage is amazing. I truly appreciate you guys. Again, scan that barcode while you can. Join myself over there on WinStreaks. Use the promo code or referral code WayneBreezie to sign up. Guys, it's been a real one, man. The WayneBreezie Show is in full effect. Shout out to all. We got 672 people watching. Like, thank you. Guys, stay tuned for more and more 49er news as we continue to break it as the day goes along. Free agency frenzy is officially underway. Till the next time, stay up, faithful. Love y'all. Peace.
I be sipping gold bar, whiskey on the rocks, and a 24 karat gold on a watch. My 7-1 Chevy be tipping non-stop, sounding like Trent Williams on the block. So you know we can't stop, we be banging through your speakers. WayneBreezie on the field or in the bleachers. You can tune into my show and I'm a teacher. WayneBreezie, the 4-9 preacher.